This podcast features the diverse perspective of a thriving global community of coaches, leaders, and experts sharing their captivating stories, journeys, expert advice, and more. Hello, and welcome to Coaches Connect podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Jones. And today we have an amazing guest. We have Andrea Morrison here. She is a transformational international coach, mentor, writer, and TEDx speaker who works with ambitious and kind-hearted professionals, entrepreneurs, and coaches, sharing with them a straightforward yet impactful state of mind understanding, enabling them to free their innate potential and achieve the balance in their lives that they seek. Through normal conversations that make you think, supplying perspective to create and nurture freedom of mind, Andrea is an enthusiastic coach and mentor, providing a fresh approach to personal development and committed to help you find clarity. She provides a calm, safe space to share and prompt fresh perspective through conversations that break down that internal resistance to change, which will lead you to gain a greater understanding of yourself and the world around you. Working with Andrea enables transformational and sustainable change to occur from within. While initially nothing necessarily may change on the outside, your whole experience will start to change. You will begin to see the world literally through fresh eyes. Understanding our state of mind and how it impacts our life is an often invisible game changer. Those who work with Andrea will experience increased fulfillment, clarity, freedom, confidence, and resilience. They realize how much they have been constricting themselves and find a freedom that enables them to release their natural abilities and fulfill their potential. So let's welcome Andrea, and we're going to talk a little bit about how, she's supporting coaches and creating a sustainable and flourishing practice in the industry. So how are you?
I'm really well, thank you. And thank you for such a warm welcome. I was hearing that thinking, wow, I want to work with her.
You're like, no, is that me? Is that me talking? Is that about me? So do I hear a little puppy in the background? A dog?
Oh, can you hear him? I'm so
Yes,
sorry.
it's so cute though. I was like, oh, we have a guest.
Yeah, my dog is asleep on the little chair behind me, and
So
he
cute.
does snore. So it's kind of
It's
well
okay.
known amongst my clients.
It's okay. It's okay. I hope that he sends us a little message while we're talking. He
This
can
is
ask us the
finding it
questions.
really interesting.
So, you know what? Let's hop into it. I want to get to know a little bit more about you. I kind of want to know, how did you get to where you are today? How did you get to becoming this amazing transformational coach and author and writer and all that kind of stuff? How did you get there?
Wow, we've only got half an hour, right? So
Yeah.
I'll try and just give you like a little potted history. I haven't always done this. I started out actually working in local authority. I worked with homeless people and helped them find housing. And then I always had a dream. I had this dream. I wanted to be a barrister. I'd had it since I was really small, and my then husband was like, well, hey, come on, let's do it, let's go for it, let's do some traveling, you go back to college and do your degree. And so that's what I did. And I became a barrister, and I practiced for 10 years.
I love
And yeah, it was a complete life-changing experience. And I think at the time, if you'd met me, you would think, oh, she had everything. Like, she must be so happy. She's achieved her dream. She's got the nice house. She's got the lovely kids. I had 3 kids that we didn't think we'd be able to have. And, so we struggled with that. So we had everything that we were meant to have to make us happy. But I was the most unhappiest I've ever been in my life. I was really stressed, really overwhelmed. I felt a complete imposter. I always felt like I was going to be found out. I really lacked confidence in my ability. So I would compare myself to, other barristers, other advocates, and convince myself they were better than me. And my husband would be there with my profile saying, look, will you just read this? And slowly over the years, that kind of just became all consuming. And I burnt myself out. and I ended up with chronic fatigue, and I was really very poorly. I'd had pneumonia, and yeah, my body just said enough,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it shut down. And interestingly, and I love how life unfolds, and I talk a lot about this with my clients. As soon as I made that decision, now I'm talking literally minutes after I told my clerk that I was going to take some time out, like an extended period. I
Yeah.
went to the car, I rang my husband, I said, I've done it. And he said, oh, you never guess what, but there's a job opportunity at the local university to tutor in law. It's a brand new course. They've been running it for a year.
Wow.
Why don't you apply? It's just a day a week, just keep you going. So that's what I did, and I tutored there for a few years. Now, that was incredible because it introduced me to this world of personal development. The guy who was the head of the department was really forward thinking and really was into kind of making the most of yourself and letting go of your restrictions. And he had lots of different books and things. And I started to really get interested because up to that time I thought, once you were baked, you were baked. That was it. You couldn't change that.
You
No,
can't change. Your
I
mind is set, right?
I've tried that. I failed. I had lots and lots of thinking about how I'd let everybody down and all of that.
Very fixed mindset. That was
Very,
tough.
very
Tough. Yeah. Yeah.
So I then went on this other journey, and that journey led me into different practitioners who I then went to as a client, and then I ended up at a day event with a coach, and he was running an NLP course,
Yep.
and I thought, I need to do this. Right? This made no sense. Like I had no intention of being a coach. No intention at all, but I had that gut feeling like I need to do this course. Like this is my next step. And I rationalized it. I said, be good for me, be good for the family, be good for the kids, all of that. But I went and
Right.
did
Right.
this. Now that particular trainer had spent some time with a coach called Mike O'Neill and was sharing everything that he'd learned about this inside out understanding, this state of mind understanding that had really was changing his life. And at the time, I thought, oh, that's way too simple for me. I am so too broken. I am so broken. Like, I need lots of techniques and, I need someone to
Yes.
fix me. But there was something that just stuck with me. And that was just because you think it doesn't mean it's true.
Oh, that's a big one.
And it
That's a big
was
one.
really
Yeah.
because I believed everything I thought. I mean, especially all the bad stuff. Like, I really believed it. And it just sowed a seed. And I started reading the books that he recommended, and that lent onto more books and different coaches, and started to work with different coaches, and then started to do different trainings. And I just started thinking, wow, there's something in this. There's really something in this. And then I started to think, actually, I could do this. Like I could really help people. Now,
Mhm. Mhm.
alongside that, I'd written a little book, pre-coaching training, because some people, I used to write a blog and people said, oh, you should make that into a book, which I did. And I was invited to write a weekly column for a local paper, which I still do and I absolutely love doing.
Awesome.
And when I was writing that column again, I had that gut feeling, come on, Andrea, you've just got to do this. You've got to do this. You've got to go for this.
That little inner voice is like, "Hey," but it was a good inner voice.
Well, that's the trick, is knowing which one to listen to. And,
Right.
you know, and I followed it, and I went back and I did some more formal training and just really started to pursue that part of my path, if you like. And
Yeah.
the rest is history. And, sort of 7 years later, here I am.
That's an amazing story. It's very inspiring because I think there are people who, we have these dreams, right? We have these dreams, we have these goals, aspirations, however you want to call them. And oftentimes we can get in our own, well, many times we get in our own way, right? We get into our head, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not this, I'm not that, right? So we have the inner voice that's just constantly doing overtime in our head. And what was the one thing, or when, let's just say this, What was it that happened that was like this click, like the aha that was like, I really can do this? What was the change?
I think it was when I started to believe in me. You know,
Mm.
when I really started to see what I was made of and what I had going for me, you know,
Wow.
and it, and I think for a long time I lived in my head.
Yeah.
For a long time I lived in my head and I lived in my knowledge. You know,
Mm.
what can I learn? What can I learn? Who can I work with next? Who can I need another teacher. I need to go on another course. I don't know enough. I don't know enough. I need the 50 best transformational coach questions and I need to remember them and commit them to memory. And you know, that's where I lived for such a long time, both as a lawyer and then in the early part of my career as a coach. And then I started to really see this deeper part of us. You know, we were talking about that gut feeling, you know,
Mhm. It's a big thing.
and it's huge. And it's we don't focus. I mean, we it's like we don't want to go there because it's a bit woo-woo, you know. But
I love that. It's a bit woo-woo. Yes, yes, I hear
actually
that a lot from you. That's a little woo-woo for me.
we're really missing a trick because it's those times when you're in conversation with somebody, and we've all had them, where just something comes out of our mouth and it's on the money. Or we're like, wow, that was really good. I had one the other day and I was like, wow, this is really good. I don't know where that came from, you know? And it's the more we see that and the more we understand the nature of that, that yes, we have an incredible brain, incredible personal capacity for storing knowledge, but we also have the capacity for innovation and fresh ideas and fresh thought and those in the moment moments of pure genius when we start to see that that's who we are as well and that we can rely on that's going to show up.
You know, that's beautiful, or I could say that's just pure beauty. Because oftentimes we don't allow ourselves to open up to ourselves to see really who we are, right? We all talk about, oh, the potential, the full potential, this kind of potential, that potential. But you know, when you think about it, you take a step back, it's kind of laughable at times because it's kind of like, well, what is potential? And how does that actually, affect me? Right. I think that that word has been so overused, yet not understood. And when people are able to say, like, you know what, I know I have the potential, the capacity, the free will to do X, then you have to be like, "So what's really stopping me from doing X?"
Yeah,
Right?
precisely.
Because I believe most people have potential. Um, there are those that may say, "Well, not, I don't know," and whatever, but I do believe, like, my background's originally in music. I was a singer for many years. I traveled. I was in Eurovision with Cyprus. I did all these interesting things back in the day. And there are a lot of people that will look at me and say, "Oh, I wish I could sing. I wish I could sing. I'm not a singer." I'm like, "Have you tried?" "Oh, horrible." I'm like, though, there are a few things. I don't believe everyone doesn't have a bad voice. We just haven't been trained, right? We
Mhm.
just haven't figured out how to use that voice. And also I say that everyone has a song to sing.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
you can literally or figuratively sing, but that's what that's what I mean in terms of when we're talking about, people kind of finding their potential. Everyone it has something, but it's being able to distract, kind of extract, not distract, extract what that is and be okay with trying it. And it sounds like there was a lot going on with you in your story in terms of you were doing X, then you turned to Y and you're like, "Oh, I don't know about this." And then all of a sudden you're like, "Ah, this is me.
yeah.
I can do this. I can do this." Right? And then you realize how good you are. Like all the things that you've been accomplishing through the years and the 7 years of your practice. Like, how did you then decide I'm going to have a practice. I'm going to do this and I'm going to really start coaching all kinds of people all over the world. How did that kind of come together?
Well, I think it's all part of the same part of the story because once I began to see that it was like it's like we have two voices in our head, you know, we
Yeah.
have, it's like, we know what to do, right? And that feels like kind of common sense. It feels straightforward, really simple. You just go do that. And then we have this other one that's a bit like a drama queen. Well, that's how it seems to me. And, and she's like, and for so long, I'd been allowing the drama queen to be the boss.
Yeah, I call her my sabotage queen, actually. You said the drama queen. Mine's called sabotage queen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very fond of her, and I have a lot of compassion and a lot of understanding for her. And, I'm not here to kind of judge or demonize that, because I don't think that's helpful either. But it's understanding the roles, these two ways in which we use our mind. Okay. Now, when I started to understand this more, and I mean, this is what I do when I'm working with coaches and business owners and other private individuals, when I started to understand this more, I began to realize I've been listening to the wrong voice. Oh, okay, so I can choose what I pay attention to. Now, the more I paid attention to that knowing, that more common sense, straightforward, straight talking, kind of more solid voice.
Yeah.
It was like I'd short-circuited so much. Everything became easier. Decisions became easier. Taking opportunities became easier. Having conversations became easier. Because the noise was just, sometimes it was there, but I just paid less attention to it.
Yeah. It doesn't ever go away. It doesn't ever go away, but you were able to figure out how to quiet it.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, over time, sometimes it becomes less, because the way that our mind updates, and it's like, oh, she doesn't want that scary thought anymore about such and such. Okay,
Right. I'll find another way, though.
Yeah, so, it does start to update. But the more that we understand the nature of what it is, then the easier it is for us to pay attention to the one that makes most sense to us. Now, what I found was that when I did that, I just had more courage to take those steps. And, I wasn't worried so much about what the outcome was. I allowed the outcome to be whatever it needed to be, knowing that when I got there, I'd figure it out, because we always do figure it out.
Yeah.
So the more I did that, it then enabled me to just allow the practice to grow. And, the practice has grown in areas that I never thought possible or even imagined. It wasn't even on my radar. So yeah, in answer to your question, I think I answered it, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's you said something really deep there, and it may be very simple. But it's kind of, once you just allow yourself to just be like open and let it come, right? Sometimes we feel like we need to give ourselves permission. But the more we keep like standing at the door being like, nope, I don't know. I mean, that whole, like you said, listening to the different kind of, maybe not the so nice voice, is when the opportunities aren't there. Right. And the more you're just kind of like, you know what, let's just kind of see where this goes. Because that's the thing. When we start trying to say it needs to fit this way, I only want to coach these types of people, I only want to do this, I only want to do that. When we start putting those borders on ourselves too much, then there are things that you can't even imagine that won't come to you, right? You've decided, I'm going to look at every opportunity and look at how you've kind of grown, right? In 7 years. I mean, really, on a scale from 1 to 10, in 7 years, did you think that you'd be where you are today? 10 being like, yes, 1 being like, no way.
I was probably about a 2 or a 3,
Look, everybody else, you're like, no way.
Certainly when I kind of started out, I mean, obviously I really was hopeful, but I just thought, I'd never really run a business like this before, and I didn't really know what I was doing or how I was going to go about creating, or even where I was going to get clients from. I hadn't figured any of that out. So, sitting here today, it's like, wow, it's incredible. And I think it's such a great example of, the intelligence that we have, the nudges that I've had over the years to kind of say, go and talk to this people, go and try that, go here, do that. And following those little nudges that we all get and having the courage to follow it. yeah, that's definitely been a big part of the growth of my business.
Yeah, and the nudges are I love that's one of my favorite words. You get the nudge. And sometimes, that's that friendly voice, except it comes in that nudge of being like, you can do it. Go try, right? And
Yeah.
so, what do you think, either through the nudges or, what else, what do you think was one of the biggest nudges that you got in your, I would say practice? What's one of the biggest nudges that you've gotten?
Wow. I think actually the one that springs to mind is when I went to Salt Spring Island to go to the original Three Principles School, which is the kind of foundation of the state of mind understanding that I share.
Yeah.
And it was in September 2019. And I had this feeling that I had to go. Like it was a now or never. Like this was, if I didn't go now, I would never get to go. So I went in I think it was in November, I think it was. It was a short time afterwards. And then we had the global pandemic. And actually, the Three Principles School hasn't run in person since that time. And I am just so grateful that I had the opportunity to go, because the impact that it had on me personally was so profound, and it impacted my practice and the way that I share and teach this understanding and coach and mentor in it. And I
Mhm.
just, wow. I mean, that wasn't a nudge. That was a kick up the backside. I mean, it really
It
was.
sounded like it was a really big one, a
It
really
was
big
huge.
one.
It was huge.
That's beautiful. I'm so glad that you were able to do that, because what happens to a lot of people, right? If you hadn't have done it,
Yeah,
then what would we be talking about today? You would have been
absolutely.
like, "I wish I had of, I shoulda, I coulda, but I didn't,"
Yeah,
right? We have
absolutely.
those. And the nudge always comes, it keeps coming. Some people, it's a different type of voice, a different pitch of voice or whatever, but that nudge comes. I'm so glad that you leaned into that nudge and did that. Um, you did that for yourself, you did that for your business. What is one tip, or how would you tell listeners that are starting out that it's okay to um, keep developing yourself?
Oh my goodness, it's essential. I mean, I think for any coach, we're all students of being a human being.
Yeah.
We're all learning more and more about ourselves, and that's so important. I mean, it's not I don't know, it's not like driving a car. You don't just do a series of things and then a series of
And then
lessons.
it's there. Yeah, and then you're done.
Coaching is, you're there for your client, and the way that I see it is, the more I see about the nature of being a human being, then the more I have to offer my client, the more I've seen. um and so, yeah, never be afraid. I think there's a difference. Okay, there's a
Yeah,
difference, right? There's being curious about more that you can see, right? And
right.
then there's the training collectors, because they don't feel that they're good enough or know
Yeah,
enough to
yeah.
coach. Yeah.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I was like that at the beginning. Oh, I just do this course. I just do that course. I just do that course. And I was almost like putting off developing my practice, because well, when I've done this, I'll
Yep.
feel
Shiny object. I can try this and add this this is gonna help me here, and then
and then
a
it
lot
was,
of
I
it
need to add it to my website. I need to do
yes,
this. I need to wait for the certificate. And so when I'm working with coaches, if they're in that arena, it's like, hold on, we need to have a conversation
we need to dig in here. There's some stuff going on.
about, about why you don't feel good enough as you are right now. And I think often, developing a coaching practice is about coaching, and there's no kind of um, special magic structure that you can follow, or anything like that. Coach, have conversations, talk to people about what you're doing, really really be in what you're doing, because when you're coaching, you're learning coaching. It's so you have to be in the game. And that's crucial. But definitely going back to what you were saying before, if you're being curious about what more you can see, then that's great. Never stop doing that. You never stop doing that, because that just enriches what you can bring to the coaching conversation. Definitely.
Yeah, and it is about coaching, but I think sometimes where people may struggle too is the business side.
Mm.
Right? So we're coaching, and then it's like, how am I gonna invoice? I need to follow up with this person. I don't have a am I supposed to get a VA? Am I supposed to have an assistant to figure this out? How am I, what are some of the things that you've put into your practice, that could potentially help other coaches? And you stay organized, stay on top of your game so that you don't have to focus on too much of that, but you can focus on coaching the client.
Yeah, well, I think, if you're just starting out, all of that stuff, I know it sounds easy for me to say, but you don't have to have it all in place all at once by next Tuesday before you have that conversation. And I think that often trips coaches up. They're like, oh, I need da, 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 da. And it's like, just have in place what you feel you need to have in place to have the conversations, because if you're out there in the business community and you're networking, there are so many people out there that will be able to help you and help advise you, and you'll pick up what you need to know. Remember, follow the nudges, right? You'll know what you need, and you'll go, oh, I think I need insurance. Well, who do I speak to? And lo and behold, if you're open, somebody usually pops up in the conversation that's going to be able to help you. When you're further down the line and you've got a number of clients, or if like I run a number of programs, and I have programs that are funded and things like that, then obviously you're going to need more heavy kind of administrative structure. And I found, having somebody to help me with my admin has been an absolute lifesaver. And I usually use a little very simple flowchart in my head, which is, Andrea, is this coaching? And if the answer is no, then I get somebody better to do it, because that's their job. It's like, I remember I had the insight during the pandemic, and I was just growing like the team, and I thought, and I looked at a pair of scissors. In fact, I have them here. These are the pair of scissors that caused the insight. And I thought, do you know what? I would never cut my own hair. Like, I would never I wouldn't even dream of it. Even during the pandemic, it grew and grew and grew, the longest it's ever been. I would never cut it. And I thought, then why am I trying to do my own social media, my own accounts? Why am I trying to do all of this stuff? I'm not an expert in it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what happens. We all start, "Oh, let me just read a little bit about this. I'll be able to build the website. Let me do a little bit about this. I'll understand invoicing and how to set up my calendar." And is there one area, like one kind of spot that you go to do a lot of your, like, just the day-to-day business needs?
When you say spot, what do you mean? Sorry.
Like, platforms,
Well,
like people use all different kinds of, yeah.
obviously, we use Delenta, which is just
Oh, oh, yeah.
yeah. um, we recommend it all the time, because it's just really easy. It's really easy for our clients, and it sorts out the calendar and all our programs and everything like that. So that is just incredible. I mean, we use other things like Microsoft Teams, so we can talk to the people who are involved in various projects. And it's just fine. It's trial and error.
Yeah, finding systems that actually really work for you, because that's the thing. When you don't have a system in place, it's very difficult to not, as we were talking about, be sustainable and flourishing, right? Because you're spending so much time. How can I? What is this? How can I? What is this? Right? And then, like you said, the biggest thing that you said in this was, if you're not the expert, don't do it. If it's not coaching, don't do it. And that's big, because people spend so much time trying to figure out how to do something that they don't know how to do, that they've now potentially I'm going to say the word wasted,
Mm.
wasted time that they could have been doing to continue to grow their business and actually help people by coaching and speaking and bringing more clients to the business.
Yeah. And a lot of the time it's the misunderstandings that we have about money that stop us from doing that. So it's
Absolutely.
like, oh, you know, but if I do the website myself, then it will be cheaper.
I'll save money. Yeah.
You know, oh, I'll do that because I'm free. Well, no, you're not free. You know,
Or maybe you shouldn't be free.
your time has a value,
Yeah.
and often we don't see that. And you know, and I've been there before. I've built my own websites. I've done my own sort of
Yeah.
social media strategies. You know, I've been there. I've done it, and yeah, it it worked at the time. However, when you get to a certain point, I would always, you know, share my experience of, you know, working with other people to getting that team together to help you on your with your practice and grow your business because it helps you push it through to the next level because they are really good at what they do. You know,
Yeah.
I couldn't have set up Delenta the way that my admin manager has set it up because she's an expert in CRM. She knows exactly what needs to happen. I would have spent weeks trying to sort it out because I'm not a techie kind of person, even though Delenta is like really straightforward and really easy to use. Like she takes no time at all in sorting it out because that's her bag. It's not
Yeah.
new to her, it's new to me.
Yeah.
So it saves me time, I get a better result, it's better for my clients. So for me, it's like a no-brainer. The more I step out of my business and just do the coaching is better for the business.
Nice point. Duly noted. You know, we're going to be closing soon, but I felt like there was one thing that I thought was so interesting, and I wanted to kind of end on this. You know, I see that you're a TEDx speaker, and I also dabble in that, but I really like enjoying helping TEDx speakers. So I do TEDx speaker coaching as well. The title of yours was I Stopped Trying to Be Confident and Now I'm Unstoppable. And I want to kind of end on something about that in terms of many people, as you know, don't know what it feels like to stand on that red dot and speak your truth, right? It is a very different type of talk. And the one thing that I want to know from you in going through that process and trying to really find the words that you wanted to share with people, what is it that you truly, truly learned about yourself?
I think it really illustrated to me the power of those nudges and that deeper intelligence. Like just, and when I decided that I didn't even decide I was going to do a TEDx. Like years ago, it was on my vision board, and then I just kind of thought, oh, that's never going to happen. And we had a local TEDx talk come up. Somebody was organizing it, and I thought she'd got all of her speakers, and so I just didn't go there, you know. And then I saw her. She put out a post on social media on a group that I was on, and it said, you know, if you haven't received your speaker pack, then just let me know. And I had that nudge, just reach out, be cheeky, say, can I have one, even though I haven't applied? And so I did, and she came straight back and she was like, of course you can. Like, yeah, I'd love to know what you would talk about. We haven't decided on the speakers yet. You know, just share, you know, share it with us. And we had to like do a video and you know, all the usual stuff.
Yeah.
I had no clue what I was going to talk about. No clue at all. And I was in my kitchen and I was just fiddling around with the dishes. And what came in my mind was a memory of my husband. And I opened the TEDx with it, which was, you know, if you had, it was something my husband used to say to me, Andrea, if you were confident, you'd be unstoppable.
Ah,
And it just went right into my head. And I just thought, I need to share that. I need to share how when we follow these nudges and we follow that deeper kind of feeling that we have, the intelligent part of us that shows us the next few steps, like that's our confidence. Like we are in confidence then. Like we only have the illusion of losing it when we start listening to the crazy lady, you know. So
yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's where the whole talk came from. And I stayed in that space, and more of the talk came and it just flowed, and I did the video and I just let go. It's like if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. but if it does, that's great. And right up to like standing on that red dot, I was like, you know what? If nothing comes out of my mouth, that's okay. It's okay. This is as far as I was meant to go. And it's such an incredible feeling to allow yourself to just be in that moment and really enjoy that moment, and be talking about something that, you know, as it was coming to me, kind of, it was making me tingle, you know, and that was just lovely. It was a really lovely experience, one that I
Oh,
will treasure.
I love that. But that's very key. Stop trying to be confident and you'll be unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's a beautiful way to end. I've enjoyed our time together. If people need to get in touch with you, want to get in touch with you, how do they reach out? How do they find you?
The best thing is to just pop onto my website, which is andreamorrison.co.uk, and all the links are there. You can book a call with me through Delenta. I'm more than happy to speak to anybody who is looking to grow their practice, or, you know, take their practice to the next level, or they have a business and they're listening, and they want to grow and realize those dreams that we all have.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for your time. I've truly enjoyed myself today, and have a great evening.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me. It's been amazing.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. Make sure to follow us to catch more episodes of the Coaches Connect podcast.